Hi, it's Dan with EUJuicers.com, coming to you as always from the heart of Europe. Now, a few weeks back, I took a first look at this new vertical juicer from Omega. It's their MMV Megamouth Vertical number 702, and I ran it through its paces with juicing. But this model also is able to do some interesting things. It comes with these two attachments, a blank screen and a smoothie screen, that actually lets you do processing that I would normally do with a horizontal juicer. I'm talking about things like nut butters, sorbets, things like that. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. I've got four things lined up. I'm going to make some mango sorbet. I'm going to make cashew nut butter. I'm going to make almond milk, and then I'm going to use that almond milk with some strawberries to make a smoothie. And I want to show you what comes with it. Some juicers have these as optional accessories. Nice thing about the MMV, it actually comes with these guys. First thing here is the blank screen, or the sorbet screen. This is what I'm going to use to make the nut butter and the sorbet. And what it does, it's really simple, as you can see. It's just one piece. There's no screen in here at all. Everything comes in here. The auger's going to turn, crush everything, and it's all going to come out at this end. Really simple. Smoothie screen's a bit different. It looks like a juicing screen, but what it's going to do, the materials, in this case, the strawberries and the almond milk, will come in here, and it's going to do almost like you do in a blender. The auger's going to crush it, mix it up. It'll strain out through these holes and come on out the spout. Really simple and straightforward. So what I'm going to do is disassemble, show you what you have to do. I've got the juicing screen in there right now. So all you have to do is swap it out. And in this case, I'm just going to put in the blank screen here. No need for this because there's no screen to scrape with this cleaner here. And now I can start. So the thing to remember when you're making sorbet, you want frozen fruit, but you don't want it to be so frozen that it's hard. That could damage your juicer, or it'll just get stuck in there. You want fruit that you've frozen and then allowed to thaw for a few minutes so it's kind of soft. If it's totally soft, you're just going to get mashed fruit. So you need to find that nice golden middle right there. Another thing to remember, keep the juice flap open. Again, you don't want to strain a machine, so the less strain you can put on it, in this case removing back pressure, the better. And last thing is just feed it slowly. So as you can see, this goes super easily, and it'll also be easy to clean up. I'll let it run just for a second, get the last bits out of there. And you can use a lot of things. You know, I'll use frozen bananas mixed with some strawberries. Berries are great. Blueberries, raspberries, all of that stuff makes a great sorbet. Even avocados. You might not think it, but you can freeze avocados, mix that in with some fruit if you want to get some of those healthy fats in there. I also want to try it out. Why not? It's going to come down to the quality of your fruit, of course, but that's great. That's really good stuff. So I'm going to set that aside, maybe put it in the freezer for later. So what I'm going to do now is a little bit of an experiment for me. I make nut butters, I've mentioned that before, on a horizontal. I've never done it in a vertical. And the thing that scares me a little bit is that nowhere in the instruction manual does it talk about nut butters, or in the recipe book. So I'm thinking, whoa, is this thing able to? But on the outside of the box, it says makes nut butters, so I want to try it out. Normally I make peanut butter. I thought I'd splurge, make something nicer with some cashew butter. And I've got some oil here. What I'm going to do, if you put the nuts in directly, it's just going to come out as flakes, as like cashew flakes. So you need some oil. You add some before, then I add some afterwards, stir it all together. Normally I use peanut oil. In this case I couldn't find that, so I've got sunflower oil because it's got a real mild flavor. So what I'll do is just pour some of it in, leave a little for later. I've still got more if I need it. Stir it up. And I've got the blank screen in there again, just like with the sorbets. And here goes, fingers crossed. So it's actually going really well. In between some of these detail shots, I've been packing this down because it's overflowing a bit. I also put it up on this bowl here, otherwise it's going to fall all over the floor or the table. But I added enough oil. I think I'll wrap it up with that. I've added enough oil to give it a good consistency. I didn't have to add more at the end. You can see it's coming out in a real nice consistency here, and you just kind of smash it down a little. If you want an even finer nut butter, theoretically I could shove all this stuff back in, run it through again, and it's going to come out a little more finely grained, but this actually came out really well. Again, just add as much oil as you want depending on the consistency you want, and you'll see as it comes out how much oil you want to add to it. But the stuff I put in did just fine, and it's going to settle, and it's going to kind of get a little more liquidy actually as it sits. So it'll be a good consistency for spreading on bread, things like that. All right, so the nut butter went fine. It was no problem, a successful experiment. Clean up, yeah, it was a little hassle. It always is a hassle to clean up nut butters. Just a lot of hot water and some dish soap will clean it right up. And what I'm going to do now is make some almond milk. Almond milk's really simple to make once you're prepped with a vertical juicer. It's super easy. Basically, you've got almonds. You need to soak them. You don't want baked or roasted almonds. You need the raw almonds. Soak them in water overnight, maybe 8 hours. And then you're just going to add water to that. The ratio that you use depends on how thick and creamy you like your almond milk. I've seen some people go 1-to-1. That's a really thick, creamy mixture. You can go down to 3-to-1 if you like a thinner milk. I usually go around 2-to-1, something like that. And one thing to note with this model, with this Omega vertical MMV, a lot of vertical juicers use a different type of pulp extraction system that has a silicone plug down at the bottom. So if you're using a different juicer, take a look and see if you've got that. This one doesn't, and what that means is, if I were to put the water in first, which I'd normally do, and then I'd add the almonds, the water's just going to go straight out into the pulp container. So I'm going to start with some almonds. They'll get in there and they'll kind of make a seal. Then I'll add the water, fill it up pretty high here, and just start adding nuts until it looks milky enough, till it's processed, all the pulps come out, open it up, let the milk come out, and I'll just repeat that a couple of times. And let's see how it looks. Yeah, it looks good. Again, you see, this is kind of medium creamy. It's up to you. I could have added more nuts if I wanted it thicker. I could add more water if I want it thinner. And a nice thing with a vertical, especially with this tap, you put in some and then you pop some out once it's mixed together and you taste it and you see, hey, does this have enough almond flavor? Is it thick enough? Or do I want to change the ratios? And what I'm going to do now is take this almond milk and I'm going to add some strawberries to it using the Smoothie screen and make a strawberry smoothie. So let's see how that goes. All right, so what I did with that almond milk, I don't know if I mentioned it before, I used the standard juicing screen. You got to do that to separate the almond fibers from the creamy goodness inside. And what I'm going to do now is take that almond milk, use this smoothie screen that I showed you before, and I'm going to add some strawberries to it. And just mix them all together. Now it's up to you if you want to take the greens off the top of the strawberries. I left them on because it looks nice, yeah, and it's a bit more nutrition there. Make sure you keep your juice flap closed. The whole purpose of this is just to blend the strawberries in with the almond milk. Super easy to do. Hardest part was making the almond milk. Looks good too. Looks nice and thick. Something I could definitely talk my kids into drinking. Yeah, it's too good to ruin this glass by me drinking it, so I'm going to be a caveman again. Yeah, it's good. Again, it's going to depend on the strawberries, but super fresh tasting. Super good way to liven up a healthy milk. So I was a bit surprised. I'm used to doing non-juicing functions in a horizontal, but this MMV 702 vertical did just fine. Sorbet was super easy. The nut butter is what surprised me the most. I thought there would be some trouble there, but not at all. Just make sure to add that oil first so you get a good consistency. Almond milk always goes well in verticals, and that smoothie screen, really cool to mix it together like that. If you'd like more information about the Omega MMV 702, come to our website. That's www.eujuicers.com. Thanks for watching. I'm Dan. I'll see you next time. Now, an important thing to remember with your almond milk, make sure not to get the feet too close, or especially don't get the socks into the almond milk. It kind of adds like a earthy flavor that I don't like, especially if they haven't been washed for a while.
Ready?
Ready? All right.
What you thinking of?
I'm thinking, how could this strawberry smoothie be better? I'm thinking like, okay, in a blender with ice.